Welcome back. You're watching bnsn on ET Now. Let's start taking all of your stock-related queries. Today we have Kunal who's with us to take all of your queries on the technical front. And Kunal, let me start with the first query. This one is coming from Venu, who's writing to us from Chennai, who's a senior citizen and wants to know about the markets. That is this current rally of the last 3 days a dead cat bounce, and will the market retest 22,800 levels, or is the firm bottom is already in place for the markets? What's your view?
Well, one simple line, the cat is not dead, the cat is still alive, so it's not a dead cat bounce. But yeah, I think, when you look at this kind of a rally, what we've seen the last 2-3 days, it just, sniffs off maybe some bit of short covering which has happened into the, data front, because we've seen so many, data points that over the last many days, we've seen FIIs pulling out their short positions and trying to have stock specific longs which have been built up into the into the markets as such over the last 3 days. So yes, this could be a rally which we are seeing on the back of some critical data points. But the fuel for this rally to get into a further uptrend would probably come out from the the slew of events which is lined up. It's very difficult to anticipate what the markets would react or how the markets would react post budget, as well as the Fed and the RBI policy. But one thing seems to be certain, that the markets are going with some bit of lighter expectations and not too much of a heavy negativity is what we can expect. So hopefully this trend should last for the index going forward. My personal expectation is that we could be looking at 23,500 to 24,000 mark on the Nifty, hopefully the next 1 week.
Alright then Kunal, now that the cat is out of the bag about the cat not being dead, the next one that we have is actually coming in from Divya, who's writing to us about 3 counters from the realty pack. She wants to know about Prestige Estates, Oberoi Realty and even Godrej Properties. Holding on to 25 stocks of each, wants to know if she should add at this point, and the time frame that she's then looking at is 2 years. What do you have in mind for these?
See, I think it's a good time to just hold on to these stocks. I would not suggest to average at current levels, because real estate had a charming last 2 years where it was one of the best sectors for the last 2 years consecutively, at least in terms of the price performance. And you've seen so many stocks going through a breakout. Now it's a rotational phase. The markets are always rotational. After such a kind of a sharp correction, there's bound to be some churn which could happen into the sector. So your stock picking is quite decent enough, and you've selected stocks like Prestige, etc. But my only concern is that maybe this the next couple of quarters, you might actually expect that many of these stocks would go into a time-wise consolidation. So I would not suggest to average out at current levels, but just hold on to these stocks. In case if they drop down another 10-15%, say over the next 6 months or so, maybe that could be a better time for you to average out.
All right, Kunal, coming back to you once again, because you're the only one who's taking queries today. But Kunal, this one is coming in from Vijay. He's writing to us from Bangalore. He wants to know about Tata Motors, Tata Power, Vedanta. Do you think these companies are fit to buy today, or wait before buying these counters?
No, I think you should start buying these stocks now. It's again very difficult to tell you that whether you buy the entire quantity right now, but at least 50% of your expected quantity is what you should be looking out for, because stocks like Vedanta, stocks like Tata Motors, Tata Power, etc. You hardly get these stocks at a 30-40% kind of a discount. From their recent swing highs, and we're not talking of like 3-year, 4-year correction into these stocks. We're just talking of the last 5-6 months where these stocks have corrected by 30-odd%, 40-odd% respectively. So I think in that context, at least the first part of a chunk of buying has to happen at these levels. Now, in case if there is any further deterioration, say going forward after the next 2-3 months or so, that could probably be a second level where you may look to start averaging out and buy the remaining 50%. But at least you should not be missing out on the first tranche of buying at these levels for these stocks.
Alright, the next one that we have, Kunal, is coming in from Vijay, writing to us about Coal India actually. And when I was looking at the charts on a 3-month and 6-month basis, quite the tinge of red that we have coming in, 15% downtick on the 3-month chart, and even on the 6-month chart, just somewhere about 26% downtick coming in. So what do you think about this one from a fresh investment perspective?
I'm very bullish on Coal India from a longer term play. Now, the last 5-6 months, we've seen this stock also correcting by 30-40% from I think a high of 550 levels. The stock had come back towards almost 360. So that's a sharp reduction of almost 200 points for Coal India, something which is not to be rarely seen into the stock, because it's typically a very low beta stock. It tends to remain a lot more sideways. I believe that a 30-40% discount for the stock generally lands up to be a very good accumulation point or a averaging zone for traders who are long-term investors. So I believe that Coal India at current levels could be a good buy.
All right, so That's about Coal India. But on that note, we slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. When we come back, you'll have Kunal answer all of your other related queries. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. Let me continue taking your queries. We have very limited time. And Kunal, coming right back to you then. This one is coming from Jaya from Bangalore. Wants to know about Tata Communications. How is the chart looking for you? And time to buy it.
Well, yeah, you can consider buying the stock at current levels. It seems like the stock is hitting some sort of oversold territory on the 1600 mark after a correction from almost 2200 levels. So good time for you to buy. Look out for targets in the range. Even if this bounce shapes up, say over the next few weeks, you might expect the stock to come back towards at least 1700, 1720.
All right, the next one, Kunal, that we actually have is coming in from Mithilesh Kumar, a senior citizen writing to us from Mumbai. Wants to know what Voltas at the current price. And he also wants to know if he can buy for the longer term or currently if he should wait for a better price. What do you think?
I think just wait out for a better price, maybe another week or so for Voltas, because the sell-off in the last few days has really intensified for Voltas. It's fallen from almost 1500 levels to now 1250, 1240 thereabouts, which means, and it still looks like that the weekly indicators are not yet oversold. That generally happens when there is a residual sell-off which is due or pending for the stock. I would suggest to wait out for just another week or so. If in case the stock drops down to 1200 or sub 1200 mark, that could be a very good zone for you to start accumulating.
Alright, the next one that we Kunal have is coming in from Subrata Mukherjee, writing to us from Kolkata, and this is one of those queries that we were actually waiting for because he's writing to us about a budget recommendation. Wants to know actually about GNFC from a budget standpoint. What do you think about this one?
See, I think from a budget perspective, GNFC is something which has done quite okay. I think the recent charts also indicate that the stock has come back into some sort of an oversold territory. But then really I think I would believe that you should be looking to concentrate more on the larger cap names. I think the space which I would probably recommend would be the PSU banking lot, and especially starting with the likes of SBI, which looks much more formidable, and given the risk reward, I think it's far more attractive.
Alright, the next one that we have, Kunal, is coming in from Gaurav, writing to us from Bangalore. Wants to know about a couple of defense counters. So he's talking to us about BEL as well as HAL. For the short term, he wants to know if he should wait for a dip. Now, when I was looking at the charts for BEL for the 3 months and for the last 6 months as well, there's a tinge of red coming in. But at this point, what do you make of both of these counters then?
I think these stocks are placed very, very well for themselves, because I think it seems like that these stocks have formed a near to medium-term bottom, and especially I think with BEL touching the levels of 255, which was a multi-week, multi-month low. HAL, I remember, I think around 3500, 3530 thereabouts. The stock, was a multi-month, was at a multi-month low. So I believe that at current levels, the stock, seems to have given a lot of confirmation that a major pain could be out, and we could be looking at a cycle uptrend for many of these defense names. Mazagon Dock, of course, is one of the strongest names so far, and then names like GRSE, Cochin Shipyard could also get back into a recovery.
Alright, the next one that we have is coming in for big boy Reliance, because Ignatius is writing to us about that particular counter. 20 shares is what he's holding on to, Kunal. 1,430 rupees was his buy price, and at this point he wants to know if he should buy 50 more shares, and he's already holding on to 20 shares. So what do you think about this one then? Yeah,
it could be a very good strategy if you are looking to average Reliance at current levels, because my sense is that maybe the major pain seems to be out for the stock. After a sharp correction, the stock has gone sideways. Looks like that the indicators are showing signs of divergence for Reliance Industries. So my expectations, if as and how the market progresses, I think would be that Reliance may come back to 1300, 1320 kind of a zone. And if that zone also is surpassed, then we could be looking at a much more stronger recovery from Reliance Industries.
Alright, and that was the take coming in as far as Reliance then is concerned, but that's all the queries that we could actually pack for you. Thank you so much, Kunal, for answering all of those queries. But with that completely out of time on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, the market takes all of the action forward.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.